We're going to start the Arabic. I told you that in Arabic words are of three types. Who remembers them? That's not a good question, is it? Yeah. Who can see them then? Yeah, what are they? What's the first one? Ism. Okay, Ism. Then there is Fi'l. Then there is Harf. Okay. These are three things. These are the bases of Arabic language. Okay, so we're going to go through these again. So we got Ism, and then we got Fi'l, and then we have Harf. Do we have a pen? Ism, Fi'l, and Harf, and a board white. Ism is a noun. Ism is a noun. But we're going to define it so it's nice and easy. Can I have a board white? The reason I want to define it is sometimes you can pick up Arabic books and which have been translated into English language, and then they translate them through Latin terminology, and that confuses you more. So this is why I want to give you a simple definition which works in the English as well of these. I did mention them last time. So Ism is that word which gives its own meaning. So it's independent. It's independent. So independently it gives its own meaning. And from the three tenses, what are the three tenses? Past, present, and future. Alright, neat for you. Past, present, and future. Ism does not carry any one of them. Yes, Ism does not carry any one of them. So, Ism. Yes, Ism. The scene is sakin. So it's a word which gives its own meaning independently, and from the three tenses, meaning past, present, and future, it has no tense. You can write that down. It's a good definition. Yes, has its own meaning, but from the three tenses, it has no tense. Example of it is Rajulun. Rajulun, which translates as man. Yes? What does it translate as? Man. So, I've written Rajulun on the board. Does it give its meaning? Yes, what's its meaning? Man. So you think of a man when you say Rajulun or man, you think of a man. Yes? Regardless of which man it is. That's irrelevant. But you think of a man, that's the meaning. That notion which you get in your mind, that's its meaning. But do you understand from this that there was a man, or if there is a man, or if there's going to be a man? No. None of that. So you found out that Rajulun or man is a noun within Arabic. It is a noun within Arabic. This is going to work like a checklist. So to work out if something is a noun in terms of its meaning, then you look at if it gives its own meaning, and also that it does not have any of the three tenses. Yes? Then it's a noun. Yes. Second one was what? Fi'l. Yes? Fi'l. Okay. Fi'l, you can write this. Fi'l is that word which conveys or gives its meaning independently. So what I mean by independently is that without words being attached either side. Meaning you don't put words before it and you don't put words after it. Solely by itself it gives its meaning. So it does that. And the second one part was from the three tenses, a verb should carry a tense. From the three tenses, it has one tense. So it either has past, it either has present, or it has future. So one of the three tenses are found within verb. Everybody understand that? Yes? It's a technical science, so you have to take it a bit touch slowly than every other subject. So gives its own meaning, and from the three tenses it has one tense. The reason we're saying one tense is you can't carry all three. One word can't carry three tenses. Why? Because when you speak in Arabic or when you make a sentence, then a sentence can only consist of one tense, can't it? Yes? It can only consist of one tense. Even though there are some words which represent two tenses. They represent two tenses. For example, we have fi'l mudari. We learn this later on. But just as an example, we have fi'l mudari. Fi'l mudari can represent the present tense and it can represent the future tense. Yeah? But when you use it in a sentence, you can only refer to one, can't you? And the listener will only understand one as well from what you said. You can't exactly take both of them, can you? Yes? So that's why we said that you can only take one tense at a time. So it gives its own meaning, it's independent, it gives its own meaning, and from the three tenses it has one tense at the least. Okay? Example of it is daraba. My writing not too small, is it? Is it okay? Daraba. It translates as he hit. He hit. He hit. So daraba translates as he hit. Now let's analyze this he hit. Is daraba is one word. Are there any words on either side in terms of Arabic? No. But we still got a meaning, haven't we? What's that meaning? He hit. What tense do you understand from it? Past tense. He hit. I mean, it's already been done, hasn't it? Yes. So now here we've ticked two boxes. It has its own meaning and it also has a tense in it. Yes, it has a past tense in it. So now this will be classed as a verb in Arabic. So now it's known as fi'l. What is it known as? Fi'l. So that's what a fi'l is. Okay, a verb. That fine for there? Third one is harf. Harf is easy. Yes. Harf does not give its meaning independently. It can't. Meaning it needs words to be attached to either side. Without words being attached either side of a harf, a particle, you can't understand its meaning. And from the three tenses, it carries no tense. So no to both this time, isn't it? No to both. For ism, is a yes to carrying its own meaning, a no to tense. For fi'l, is a yes to both. And for harf, is a no to both. Easy way to remember it. So it doesn't carry its own meaning and it doesn't have a tense. Let's look at the example of this. Example of this is like we have min in Arabic. Min. Yeah, one example. Ila. Second example. Yes? Min in Arabic means from. From. Okay? If I just came up to you and said from, would you understand what I'm talking about?
Is that like a connection?
Yeah. We call them particles as well. In Arabic, the connectors in Arabic, they're a specific type. When we say harf, it's slightly broader than that. It brings in the collective particles. So you'll see later on that it covers a broad amount of things. So I say from, doesn't mean anything, does it? Yes. It could mean where are you from? From could mean where you travel from. Yes? And from could mean anything basically. Yes? Ila means to, T-O, to. Yeah, from and to. From and to. So to, if I say, I've come up to you, or I write to on the board like Ila's on the board too. What does it mean? Nothing, you can't guess its meaning, can you? But if I place it in a sentence, and say, Sirtu min al-Basrati ila al-Kufa. Sirtu min al-Basrati ila al-Kufa. I travel from Basra to Kufa. What do you understand now? One place to another. So you understand that the starting point was from Basra. So min now means starting point. Yes? It doesn't really mean of where your origins are from. Because you can ask from, where are you from? Yes? But here in this sentence, it doesn't have to mean in terms of origin, in terms of nationality. It can mean in terms of where did you travel from? And that could be just a starting point, a destination that a place which you departed from. And ila tells us what? What does the two tell us? Your destination, doesn't it? Where you're going to, where you ended, where your journey ended. And that was Kufa, for example. So here now we've understood a starting point and an end point. That's their meaning now. But how we understood that meaning? How we understood that meaning? By adding, for example, sirtu, which was a verb, before it. Sirtu was added, I travelled. Added before min al-Basrati and added before ila al-Kufa. That's when we actually understood these 2 points. These 2 particles. Yes. Do they carry any tenses? Just the words themselves? No, they don't. From and to do not carry any tense whatsoever. So here we'll have to say that these 2 are harf. What are they? Harf. Any questions on that? Simple, isn't it? Yeah, Arabic is easy. So this is the base now. This is the start of like Arabic for you. So the words in Arabic are of 3 types: ism, fail, and harf. Learn them names. Okay? Ism, fail, and harf. Ism, fail, and harf. Because that's all we're going to talk about. Mostly fail. Mostly in this first part of Arabic grammar, we mostly talk about fail. But there are a few other things that we need to clear up first, in terms of definitions. Now look here that we mentioned harf. That's one thing, that's a particle. Move away from that. Learn that, but for now forget it. Okay? Because don't need to confuse it with the next thing. And that is that huruf. Okay? Huruf are of 2 types. Okay? The reason I said that, forget what I just said. This harf is a word. This harf is a word. What we're going to talk about now are letters. Yes? And the reason I put them together is so that you know the clear difference as well. Sometimes in the book they come different, there's a gap between them. But I like to mention them together. Why? So that you know the clear difference. This harf, when we mention harf here, that the word is on 3 types: ism, fail, and harf. Here harf means that particle, it means a word. Okay? But this category that we're going in now is huruf as in terms of letters. Yes? Not words, in terms of letters. So letters in the Arabic language, or what a word is made of letters, isn't it? Those letters that a word is made of, they're on 2 categories. Okay? So you got huruf. The first category is huruf asliya. Huruf asliya. Huruf asliya is something for you to understand now. And note this down. Listen to it carefully and then note it down as well. Huruf asliya are those letters. Huruf asliya translates as real letters. You could make real letters, the letters which actually make up the word. That actually make up the word. Now, huruf asliya, the real letters, how do you determine them? How do you know which ones are the real letters in the Arabic language? The definition for this is, to work it out, is that any letters, write this down, any letters which come opposite fa, ain and lam. Any letters which come opposite fa, ain and lam. Kalima. Write that word after it. Which come opposite, any letters which come opposite fa, ain, lam, kalima. They are huruf asli. So huruf asli are any letters which come opposite fa, ain and lam kalima. Remember one thing, there will be certain concepts which I mentioned to you which do not make sense at all. Okay? But I told you something in the introduction. What was that? Yeah, it'll come together. And I said one thing, have trust in the teacher. Okay? This is one of those points where you might think, what is he talking about? Yes? Have trust in the teacher. They're just definitions we're going through at the moment, so they might be a bit vague for you, but later on we'll piece them all together, inshallah ta'ala. Okay? They'll all fit in. Truth is, if I move away from the definition and start going into examples, yes, you'll be lost in that then. And you'll be saying, what is he talking about in that as well? So it's better just to learn what you've got, and then when you go further and further on with it, everything will piece together. Yes? Everything that I'm mentioning now, we're going to take one word, and all of this you'll revise it just in that one word. Okay? And it'll be constant that you'll be tired of doing it as well. Okay? So real letters, huruf asliya, are those or any letters which come opposite fa, ain and lam. Let's look at this. Look. The examples of it could be daraba. We did that before, didn't we? Yes? So, just write daraba at the top. Yes? This is all of your sarf. You know, this what I'm telling you now, this is more or less all of your sarf that you have to do throughout the whole of your sarf. Throughout the whole of your Arabic grammar life, you have to constantly do this. Yes? As your base. Underneath it, just write fa'ala. Yes? I'm going to mention one thing here and I'll do it here as well. Fa'ala, fa, ain and lam. Fa, ain and lam. This is your scale in the Arabic language. Yes? And in sarf, that's all we learn. In sarf, that's all we learn. We only learn scales. You'll memorize the scales and then you'll find words in books, in Quran, wherever you find them. All you have to do is match them with that scale. Once you match it with a certain scale, you'll understand what it's all about. Yes? Is it past tense? Is it future tense? Is it present tense? Is it a command? Is it ism fa'il, ism maf'ul, and so on and so forth. Yes? So that's what only sarf teaches you. As in terms of knowing those scales, and then what? When you find new words, you can understand which pattern it comes from, which scale it comes from. So here, for example, you got daraba, and we put it into the scale of fa'ala. But we use fa'ala as a scale. What do we use? Fa'ala, fa, ain and lam as a scale. The fa is called the fa kalima. The ain is called the ain kalima. and the lam is called a lam kalima. So for example, when the words get tough, yeah, this is an easy example, but if the words get tough and I ask you, what are the hurufe asliya? Yes. So those of you who are well versed in it, they'll say daraba. Yes, dadraba. But sometimes you have to take it a bit slowly as well. That might be a hard word. So then I'll break it down and I'll say, what is the fa kalima? What is the fa kalima? Fa kalima, fa and lam, anything that comes opposite fa and lam, that's always the real letters. They are the real letters. They're the letters that make up the word. Yes? They are the letters that make up the word. So for example, look here, we got daraba, haven't we? Our definition to find out what the real letters were was that any letters that come opposite fa, ain and lam. So let's look at the fa kalima. Fa kalima is here, isn't it? Yes? So we just look what's opposite it. What letters opposite it? Dad. So we'll say that the dad is the fa kalima. Dad is the fa kalima. We look at the ain kalima. What's opposite the ain? Ra. So we'll say that the ra is the ain kalima. What's opposite the lam? Ba. So we'll say that the ba is the lam kalima. You can break it down like that, and if you get really used to it, then if somebody asks you what are the huruf asliya, you will say daraba or dadraba. Dadraba. That the huruf asliya are only those letters which come opposite fa, ain and lam. Okay? So whatever comes opposite fa, ain and lam, they are the real letters of a word. The real letters of a word, when you make new words from that same, the previous word, the fa and lam kalma will constantly carry on. For example, daraba is made from darbun. Daraba is made from darbun. Is his root word? It means to hit. What does it mean? To hit. So that was his root word. From this we made daraba, which means he hit, the past tense. We made the past. That's all sarf is. We're going to tell you how to make the past tense. We're going to tell you the scale of the future tense and the present tense and so on and so forth. Okay? So here you can see that the dad, ra and ba have carried on, haven't they? They have to be there. Yes? You take the dad away and put someone else in his place. Yes? Then it means something else. It's a different word altogether then, isn't it? Yeah? You put a sin there, you put ta there. It's a different word altogether. Yeah? So the fa and lam kalma need to carry on. Do you all understand that? Yes? Do you understand that? Okay. Since you've understood that, let's move on then. The third one, second one, is hurufe za'idah. Hurufe za'idah. Hurufe za'idah, extra letters if you like. Extra letters. Extra letters. Who knows the definition of an extra letter? A simple rule in sciences that we have, that if you say that something has 2 categories, or has 3 categories or 4 categories, yes, when you define one, so if you said something's got 2 categories to it, if you define one, the second one is just going to be the total opposite. So if one's in the positive, the second will be in the negative. So what did we say hurufe asliya were? Any letters which come opposite fa, ain and lam. So what will hurufe zaida be? That was in the positive, wasn't it? What will this be then? Any letters that do not come opposite fa, ain and lam. Fa, ain and lam. They're known as the extra letters. Extra letters serve a purpose. They change meanings. Yes? For example, easy example. Let's do adraba. Adraba. Underneath it, we'll say af'ala. You're going to say, how do I know it's af'ala? That's the next question, isn't it? How do I know it's af'ala? You know, word comes, you pick up in the Quran and it says adraba or whatever, wherever you read it, adraba. How do you know that the wazn is af'ala? That's what self teaches you. That's what self teaches you. You learn all the skills and all you have to do is play snaps with them. Yes? You played snaps? No? Nobody ever played snaps? Never? You played snaps?
Card game.
Yeah, card game. Yes. What was it they used to? Keep putting the cards down, and then when two cards match, you have to say snaps. That's what you're doing with this as well. All it is, the dad ra ba change for fa and lam. Yes, and all you have to do in your brain is play that snaps game. You learn many skills, many skills, and from those skills you have to keep thinking until you find a match. Yeah? So there'll be many skills like you have daraba, you have ifta'ala, infa'ala, istaf'ala, af'ala. Yes, and it carries on like that. So you're going to learn all of them, inshallah ta'ala. So you just about memorizing them and then trying to find the word that you found in a book, the Quran, in Hadith Sharif, whatever it is, see which scale it fits with. Once you find out what scale it fits with, then you'll know the whole background of that word. Yes? I mean, you'll know if it's past tense, if it's present tense, where is it from, how is it like, how is this word made, yes? In what way can we translate it, and so on and so forth. So look here, what are the hurufe asliya? What are the hurufe asliya within adraba? Who wants to do it? You do it. What's the fa kalma? What's opposite the fa in adraba? Look at the board. So what's opposite the fa? Dad, isn't it? Yes. What's opposite the ain? The ra. What's opposite the lam? The ba. Yes. What's left? Yeah, we call it hamza. What do we call it? Hamza. The hamza in the starting is an extra letter. The hamza in the starting is an extra letter. It never came opposite fa, it never came opposite ain, and it never came opposite lam. We'll understand that it is an extra letter. Just to make life easy, an extra letter is repeated. An extra letter is repeated, meaning once it comes in the top word that you want to know about, it also comes in your scale. It also comes in your scale. Does that make sense? Yes? Last thing, af'ala or fa'ala. We call this the scale, we call it wazn. What do we call it? Wazn. We call it wazn. Get used to that. We call it wazn. That's the scale basically. In Arabic language, you use fa and lam kalma as a scale. Now, a scale has two sides to it, doesn't it? Yeah. Yes? The thing that's weighed and what you're weighing it against. Yes? So the first one is called mawzun. It's just something extra for you to know. You don't need to write it down. So the first word of each one is the mawzun. What is it called? The mawzun, the thing that you're weighing. That's the apples. Yes? And what you weigh with, yes? Which is your weight. Yeah? That's called wazn. What is it called? Wazn. Okay. So for example, sometimes I'll take a word and say nasara. What's the wazn of nasara? Okay. You'll say it's on the wazn of fa'ala. Then I'll say what are the hurufe asliya? And you'll say nasara, it has the fa kalma is a noon, the ain kalma is a sad, and the lam kalma is a ra. Same as that, isn't it? Nasara, daraba, nasara, fa'ala. All the same, isn't it? Yes? Just a different word now. Nasara. So now you got nasara, you'll say what's the fa kalma is noon, ain kalma is sad, lam kalma is ra. Yes? You'll know about it. Are there any extra letters? No, there's no extra letters. We'll say ansara and sara. So same thing happens there. Adraba, ansara, same scale. So af'ala has to be its wazn. So we'll say the same thing. Noon, sad, ra is the hurufe asli, and the hamza in the starting is extra. Yes? Is that right, Umar? Huh? Finish it off then. Nasara. Nasara, what siga is it? Siga. Gardan. Bab. Read the surface again. وظرف منه منصر Nusra. You have to learn all that, inshallah. Okay? That's just a bit of a teaser for you. Okay? We learn all of that. Inshallah, we're going to go through all the scales one by one. But before we go into them, there are still a couple of more things we have to go through in terms of definitions. Yes? I'm taking it slowly because I'm in no rush to finish it. Yeah? It's a long science, surface, and I'm in no rush to finish it. What I want you to do is everything you get, learn it. Yes? Whatever you get, learn it, memorize it. Okay? Try to understand it.
And that's the fa'ala, that's one scale, and then the afala, is that another scale?
That's another scale. And there's loads more to come. Yes? There's loads more to come in the Arabic language. In Sarf, your only job is to learn scales. Once you learn those scales, then it makes life easy for you. Then you can match words with them. Yeah? But then, if you want to go into more detail, then we talk about rules as well, because words can change. Words can. For example, you probably always hear the word qala. Yes, qala. So now qala has been changed. Qala has been changed. Really? So qala, we have it like that. If I ask you the wazn of that, you wouldn't know, would you? Yes? But really qala, we're going to do this as well. Where a rule has been applied, his actual form was qawala. What was it? Qawala. But doesn't qawala fit with fa'ala? Yes? Then you know the scale, and once you learn what fa'ala is, you'll know is fail, mazi, mutlaq, musmad, maruf is the past tense. Yes? You'll know it's the past tense. Qala. Now if you want to make the present tense out of it, then Sarf teaches you that as well, that it comes as yaqulu. Yes? So this is what Sarf is going to teach you as well. Okay? The scales of words. Okay? Next week we're going to do something called the 6 types. Yes? Again, you have to have trust. It's going to be a bit difficult, but we just have to get these definitions over and done with. Once we've done them, then we go into the Arabic itself, as in learning the skills. Okay? Then it gets easy. It's really easy after that. It's just the starting point. Sometimes you have to know these things, because they're going to constantly ask you then. Okay? So we'll give you a scale, then I'll put a word up on the board. Then everything you've learnt now, you'll have to do that with that one word. Yes? You'll have to understand if it's a verb, if it's a noun. Yes? And then understand what the huruf asliya is, what the huruf zaida is. Once you've done that, then we can move on with the rest of the sabak. Okay? Any questions on this so far? Is it easy? Yeah? No? Just take it as it is. I'll just do a recap. You did the 3 types of words, ism, fi'l and harf. They're easy. Then we've done huruf. Yes? What make up a word. Okay? What makes up a word is of 2 types. Huruf asliya. Huruf asliya are the letters which actually make that word, which make up the word. You can't change them. They have to be there. Yes? So they're the huruf asliya. But how do we recognize huruf asliya? The scales that we're going to learn, when we learn fa'ala, fa'ala, fa'alu, fa'alat, fa'alata, fa'alna, fa'altuma, fa'altum, fa'alti, fa'altuma, fa'altunna. That's one scale, for example, of the past tense. Yes? You will understand there that when I say fa'ala, or if I say fa'altu, I say darabtu. Yes? You'll understand that the fa, ain, lam, kalma, the real letters are all those which come opposite fa, ain and lam. And then realize that the tu is extra, so that you don't mistranslate it. Yes? You don't start looking in the dictionary for dad, rata. You won't find the word, but dad, rata. Yes? You know that because you know now is an extra letter. Yes? So that tells you how to look for the huruf asliya. Then you have the huruf zaida. Huruf zaida is just the extra letter that doesn't come opposite fa and lam. But we told you easy way to remember is that it's repeated. It's repeated. Because we don't want to put anything else opposite it. We can't put fa and lam kalma opposite it. So we just repeat it. So for example, if I changed it, if I said darabtu, yes, then the wazn would be fa'altu. Now dad ra ba again will be the hurufe asliya. The tu is repeated, isn't it? Yes, that will be hurufe or harfe zaida. Yes. Does that make life easy? Don't worry. Your whole sarf, we're going to be doing this from now all the way till the end of it. Okay? We constantly do this, don't we, Mustafa? Yes? You constantly do this. Yes? And for the easy skills, it's really easy, and your mind will get used to it so much that you won't even have to take the wazn out and you know everything about it. Is for maybe sometimes words like qala that come and you have to really think about them because they've changed away from the original form. Yes, but we're going to tell you the rules of how they change as well, inshallah. Yes, but we're going to take it step by step, inshallah. So I hope you understand that. If there's any question, ask now. No? Inshallah. We'll carry on with this next week. We'll move on to, I believe it was Aqidah. The book actually came to me, the one that I was meant to give out to you. But for some reason he only got 3 copies. And he's given me this one, so he's promised Wednesday. Okay, so do dua, it comes on Wednesday this time. Yeah. The reason I'm taking Arabic slowly with you is if you do Arabic properly and understand it properly, you can attend any course, Arabic courses, and it'll make life really easy for you. Yeah? So take your time on it, take it slowly, understand every single thing. Yes? There will be those questions of, what is he talking about? This doesn't really make sense. Okay? Just have that trust. Inshallah, when we go further into it, you'll see all the dots will start joining together. These things might look separate. You know what? We've just learned 3 types of words, ism, fi'l, harf, and then all of a sudden we're in huruf. Yes? What's the connection between both of them? No, there is no connection really between both of them. Yes? But all is when we go further into sarf and we start looking at sarf in its proper form, all of these little pieces will be used over there. Okay? So then it'll make complete sense to you. Okay? Who remembers what point we left it at? What Aqidah point we left? 14. We did 14, didn't we? Yeah. Aqidah number 15. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has all perfection in Him. And anything that is a sign of defect, fault, these signs of defects or faults, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free of them. The signs of them and also the defects themselves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free of them. Rather, it is impossible for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to carry such attributes. It is impossible for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to carry such attributes. For example, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to lie. we as humans know it as a fault. Yes? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is only attributed with perfection. With perfection. And lying is a fault. Yes? So if we attribute him with lying, then we'll have to say that he's also attributed with a defect. And that is something which we can't have as a notion for the meaning of God. Likewise, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not do zulm. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not sin. He creates these things, doesn't he? He creates them, but he doesn't do them himself. For him to be a creator of it is different from him doing it. So keep this in mind, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is only attributed with perfection. And if you attribute him with defect, then it affects the perfection. Then he is no longer perfect. Aqidah number 16. Note this one down. The 7 attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay. First one is hayat. Hayat. Hayat, which is life. Yes. He's Hayy, isn't he? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Hayy. Yes. Ever living. Nobody granted him life, but he grants everybody else or everything else life. So that's his first attribute. Then you have Qudra. Qudra. I intentionally write in Arabic and not write in English. Yes? Just so that you get used to seeing it. Okay? So if you're thinking, why am I not writing in English? I'm letting you do the English, but I want your eyes to settle onto the Arabic as well. So that you always get used to it. The more you familiarize yourself with it, the easier it starts to get. Okay? So the second one is Qudra. Qudra is strength. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all powerful. Third one is, you can do it as Sama. What is it? Sama. That means hearing. Sama means hearing. Fourth one is Basar, which is seeing. Fifth one is Kalam, which is his speech. We're going to go through all of these inshallah. His speech. Fourth one, Basar, seeing.
What was the fifth one?
Kalam. Number 6 is ilm, knowledge. And the last one, number 7, is irada. Irada is his will. Irada is his will. These are the intrinsic attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The intrinsic attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the classic way of doing it. Modern books tend to split them into maybe 20, I think. Yes? But they're just branches of these 7.
What was the
Irada's will, the will of Allah. So look at again, hayat is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is living, but nobody gives life to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rather, He gives life to everything else. Qudra, an intrinsic attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is qudra, that He is all powerful. He is all powerful. Then you have sama, hearing, that is all hearing. He hears everything. Basar, all seeing. He sees everything. Kalam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has speech. Ilm, He is knowledgeable. The intrinsic meaning, these things can't be taken away from Him. Irada, and the will. Yes? The truth is, if you start looking into them in detail, you'll find that all the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you can think of come under these 7, one way or another. Yes? And these 7 are agreed upon. What are they? Agreed upon between us, Maturidis, and the Ash'aris. But we have an extra one as well. We have a extra one as well, and that's taqween. What is it? Taqween. And that just means the power to create, if you like. Power to create. And attributes like Him being a creator, yes? All these attributes which denote action, yes, come under this. Yeah? But the Ash'aris will say that we don't need this 8th one. Why? Because it really comes under His strength. It really comes under His strength to just understand basic concept of that difference. Yes? So you understand here, look, it's not a major difference, is it? Us as Maturidis, we make it a separate category, a separate attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whereas the Ash'aris just say no, it comes under the strength of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you can see just a minor difference, isn't it? Yes. So these are the 7 agreed upon, and I told you Taqawwun is separate, which the Maturidis also have. But we don't need to go into that, that's for a later day, inshallah ta'ala. But these 7 are the main concepts that we have regarding the intrinsic attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All the other attributes will come out from these, or branched out from these, what we know. In terms of the sama and the basar, that He's all hearing and all seeing. The difference is that we hear and we see, but by way of tools, if you like. Yes? If you want to call it tools. Meaning, we hear by the tools of our ears, the eardrums. We see by the tool of our eyes. Yes? The pupils and whatever technical things are inside there. This is how we see, don't we? Yes? Meaning, you have to have eyes to see. If your eyes were taken out, would you be able to see? No. If your eardrums were taken out, would you be able to see? Hear, sorry. Would you be able to hear? No. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free of these things. You know, these tools, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free of them. He does not need eyes to see with. He does not need ears to hear with. He is free of these things. Yeah. So He hears without these tools. Likewise, His speech, you need a tongue to talk with, don't you? Yes? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free of that. You need words. You need sound. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free of that. You need to renew your sentences. Yes? Stop and talk, stop and talk, stop and talk. Yes? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free of that as well. Yes? Why? Because if God stopped and then talked, then stopped again and then talked again, what would that mean? He changed. God changed, didn't He? Remember that? I gave you all the hard stuff in the starting. There was a reason behind it. So that we can just easily refer to it. Yes? God changed. He stopped talking. And then he started talking. Yes? That's a change. When he changes like that, that will prove that he's not God. He is not God. And that's a problem then, isn't it? So this is why we say the intrinsic speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free of sound, is free of words even. Yes? Words are sounds, aren't they? It's free of that. It's free of stops and starts. Yes? God is free of that. That's his intrinsic speech. This is why some of the ulama say that Sayyidina Musa heard the intrinsic speech of Allah. Yes? Which was without sound, but he heard it. Not only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows how he heard it, he's qadir upon everything, isn't he? So he can make Sayyidina Musa hear it in that way. According to Maturids, I believe is that it was the fire that represented the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes? He heard the sound. One of the main reasons for this as well, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free of these things, is that, look, ears, eyes, words, or the tongue, for example, what are all these things? Physical, aren't they? Yes? Is a form. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free of form. Yes? Because then if he's got a form, then he can be divided. If he can be divided, where's the tawheed? You got two now. Yes? So no tawheed left. Remember I told you have to keep tawheed intact in every single aspect. You can't just mean, I believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only one worthy of worship. And that's it, that's your tawheed. No. We mean in every single aspect. In every single aspect. In terms of his essence, in terms of his attributes, in terms of worshipping him, in terms of him being a creator. In every aspect that you can think of, God needs to be one. So this is what has been said. Another thing is that when we hear, for example, those of you that sat maybe closer to me can hear me clearly, but those maybe sat further away can't really hear me. Those of you sat close to me can see me clearly, and those maybe sat far away can't see me as clearly. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free of such things as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free of such things. Meaning, the way you call him in your heart and the way you call him out with your voice, he hears it equally. He hears it equally. It makes no difference to him. In regards to seeing you, yes, the way he sees the rest of the universe, that's the way he sees you. Yes? Meaning, another example could be that he won't see you as, maybe, for example, the closer you are to a person, the bigger they look. Yes, the further you are, the smaller they look. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free of such things as well. Yes? Because these are classed as defects, aren't they? These are classed as defects. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also free of such things. So he sees everything subhanahu wa ta'ala. You call him, he hears everything and he sees everything. You call him in your bedroom, you call him out in public. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees it all, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears it all. You call him out in a loud voice, he hears it. You call him in a light voice, in your heart maybe, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears that equally. Okay? It's an aqidah that we need to have. Okay? Somebody asked the question last time when I taught this was, then why do we do dua loudly? Yes, I told him a bit of a joke. There was an imam once and he did a prayer, and when he did that prayer, he did the salah, and after the salah he did dua. And then there was one of those other people behind him, and that person objected that why did you do dua loudly? Yes, God is not deaf. This is what he said to him. God is not deaf. Anyway, this imam just let it pass. Said, okay, fair dues, let's go carry on. The next namaz came and it happened to be Maghrib namaz. Yes, so he recited Surah Fatiha out loudly, and this man behind the imam said, Ameen. Yes? The imam turned around and said, has God become deaf for you now? Couldn't you say it quietly? Yes? So it's just a point that God, it doesn't matter how you do your ibadah, it's just your own state. Yes? If you have this state where you want to call out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loudly, where you want to make a loud dua, yes, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears it equally. If it's a place where you want to do it silently, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears that as well equally. Yes? But what we should take care of is the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, where those places the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam would do dua loudly, we do dua loudly. Those places where the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam did dua quietly, then you do dua quietly. For example, according to us Hanafis, to say Ameen, we say it quietly. Yes? So that's why we follow the sunnah in that way. Yeah? So it's not a case of why do you do it loudly in one place and why do you do it quietly in another place. Yes? The reason we do it like that is because our Prophet did it in that way. Okay? Aqidah number 17. Yes, you can.
Sometimes people do dua in Arabic, and even though you don't understand it, you still used to
Yeah, you'll get the blessings. Yeah, you'll be part of that dua. You don't have to understand the dua. Yes? Have trust with that person making the dua, that he's doing all good du'as. One of the signs as well in the Arabic language is as well, that if somebody's going to do a bad dua, yes, they'll turn their hands up opposite way around. Okay? So sometimes we do that in like when we, I shouldn't say on recording, but when we make dua against others, yes? People who are waging war against Islam, yes? So sometimes what we'll do is, for example, we'll have our hands like this making dua, and when we're doing the dua against those enemies of Islam, we'll turn our hands around. Yeah? So we make dua that way. That's the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. So if you don't know what the Imam's talking about, but if he does that, then you know. Yes? It's just a simple sign. Sometimes we do in the Hizbul Bahar as well. Okay? Yeah, shahatil wujuh, shahatil wujuh. At that point in the Hizbul Bahar, we'll turn our hands around. And we'll say shahatil wujuh, shahatil wujuh, shahatil wujuh, wa anatil wujuh lil hayyil qayyum. Yes? We'll turn our hands round in that manner. Yeah? Just because we're doing dua against the enemies of Islam. Okay? So that's one of the signs. But you have trust with the Imam. It's not like he's going to do dua against specific people. Yes? Or the people that are gathered in front of you, that he does dua against them. So have trust like that. Aqidah number 17. Just like other attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the attribute of kalam, this is also qadim. This is also qadim. It is pre-eternal. It has no beginning. The speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no beginning. Yes? And is not created. The intrinsic speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not created. And whoever calls the Quran the intrinsic speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, anyone who calls that to be created is out of the fold of Islam according to us. The intrinsic speech. Yes? I want to make a difference here. Sometimes we say Quran and we refer to the intrinsic speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sometimes we say Quran and we refer to the mushaf. Mushaf, the copy of the Quran. The book form of the Quran. The book form of the Quran obviously is created, isn't it? Yes? That's created, isn't it? Yes? Now, you have to make a difference sometimes as well. So, the mushaf is created, but the intrinsic speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not created. Why? Because once we've assumed and taken this belief that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has speech, and it's his intrinsic speech, then it's with him, isn't it? It is with him. Remember, his attributes are neither him nor other than him. Yes? This attribute is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now we say that it's with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then we say that this same attribute is also created. Is also created. Now will God's essence still be without a beginning? It won't be, will it? Because if this attribute, which is part of the essence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if this attribute is created, then his essence is created as well. So this is why it's necessary for us to believe as well that even the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also qadim, without beginning. So the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is without beginning. Our speech has a beginning, doesn't it? Yes? Stops and starts.
Quran
Yes, as in his intrinsic speech.
Would you say that that's what stops him starts in?
What's that?
Is that not what stops?
No, not the intrinsic speech. Is our representation of that. So when we recite the Quran, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Yeah? These sounds that we make, they are representatives, ambassadors of the intrinsic speech. They just represent it. Yes? Just like the smoke represents the fire. Yes? So the smoke just lets you know that there's fire there, isn't it? But it doesn't really tell you how rapid that fire is and such and such. The reality of it is not known to you. So here the word, the sounds that we make, they represent it, but that's not the essence of that speech. Yes? These sounds are only for us to understand. Yes? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intrinsic speech is free of all these things.
So, for our understanding, so if we say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered something or said something, what about before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered it? How is it?
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it was always there. Yes? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's speech has no beginning, it has no end. Yes? It's only when it was revealed to the humans. The revealing of that speech to the humans is something that has its own time. Has its own time. That's different. Yes? So the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one, is with him, is part of his knowledge, is everything. But all is when humans have a need towards it, like the Quran. The Quran, in terms of the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, was always there. Yes? All it was, the time for it to be revealed was when our Prophet sallallahu ta'ala was sent to this world. So that's when it was revealed to was humans. It doesn't mean that God said, establish your prayer, and he said it at a specific time. No. All it is, we only found out that this command was in a specific time. Yes? We only found out that this command was in a specific time. Do you understand that? Yes? Aqidah number 18. The speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free of sound, like we said before. And this Quran that we read, this kalam that we read of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the book form of the Quran, and we recite it with our voices, this is that which represents that intrinsic without a beginning speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The intrinsic, qadim, without a beginning speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But our writing it and all these things, these are all created, aren't they? When we write the Quran, this is something that is created. And that's not an attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What we hear with our ears, the sound that we bring forth from our mouths, this is all created. Yes? Aqidah number 19. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's knowledge. Number 6. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's knowledge encompasses everything. It surrounds every single thing. The knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surrounds every single thing. You have the juz'iyat, the kulliyat. Yes? The whole and the particles, the small parts. He knows all of them. He knows what's in existence, what's in non-existence, what's possible and what's impossible. He knows all of them. And He's always known them. His knowledge is qadeem as well, isn't it? Without a beginning. And His knowledge is without ending as well. And it can't change. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's knowledge can't change and it can't increase. It can't increase. It's without ending. We call it غير متناهي. Limitless, if you like. Yes? Because if you have a limit, if you draw a line ends there at the moment, doesn't it? Yes? So if you say that God's knowledge is like that, then we'll say it'll have to have an end. Have to have an end. But if we say that God's knowledge can be increased, for something to increase shows us that there was an end at one point. There was an end, a boundary set where it finished, and that's when it was increased. Yeah? So it stopped there, and then from here increased. Yes? It showed us that there was a stop. But what happened here? The increasement changed the knowledge of Allah then. Or changed the knowledge of God, I should say. Changed the knowledge of God. And once God's knowledge has been changed, then He's changed. Then He has changed. And every change is a sign of a beginning. Yeah? Not being God, having a beginning. And having a beginning is a sign of not being God. Because God does not have a beginning. Does it make sense? Yes? You look a bit dazzled. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's knowledge encompasses all of these things, and He knows them from pre-eternity. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's knowledge has no beginning, it has no end, it can't be changed. Nothing can be added to it, nothing can be taken out from it. His knowledge, His is knowledge. Yes? Things can change in reality, but the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not change. Whatever will happen is in accordance with the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We'll take a break there, inshallah. Aqidah number 20. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the ghaib and the shahada, as in the unseen and the seen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows all of this. He knows the seen and the unseen. And this is all intrinsic to Him. For example, our knowledge is gifted. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the knowledge of what we know. But for Him, it's all intrinsic to Him. Nobody gave Him the knowledge. It's intrinsic to Him, and He knows every single bit. Meaning what's seen and what's unseen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No, in another translation, unseen is by our standard. As in, for Him, He sees everything. But it's unseen in terms of things that we don't know. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows them as well. And this is something that is ilm zati, meaning it is intrinsic to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Intrinsic means that it's His. It wasn't gifted to Him. If someone proves ilm zati, intrinsic knowledge, for anyone but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that person is out of the fold of Islam. That person is out of the fold of Islam. For example, look, let's take the knowledge of the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. Now, as Muslims, we don't believe that the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam has intrinsic knowledge. Yes. We believe that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam has ilm kulli, as in the knowledge that has been given to this world, to this universe. The Prophet knows all of that. The Prophet knows all of the knowledge that has been given into the universe. Yes? But we don't say it's an intrinsic attribute of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rather, it is gifted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there is no comparison between the knowledge of the Prophet and the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can't compare the two. Okay? So do you understand that? Yes. So here, the person who says, and if anybody says that the knowledge of the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam is intrinsic. By intrinsic, I mean that it had nothing to do with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't create it, it was there. This is kufr, isn't it? Why? How can it be that something is in the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala which He has nothing to do with? Yes? So that is wrong then, isn't it? So this will come under shirk, if you like. So ilm zati here refers to that without God's giving, someone has attained something. That's what we mean by intrinsic. Okay, God's knowledge is intrinsic to Him. His attributes are intrinsic to Him. But for the rest of creation, they are all learnt or gifted. Okay. Aqidah number 21. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator of everything. Regardless of if it's the essences of things, what makes up an actual thing, or if it's actions. You have actions as well, don't you? But that's a humanness to you as well. You're a human. Yes, that's your essence. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created that, and He created all the actions, all your attributes, everything about you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created it. But the angels and various other things only become means. Even though He does not need means, He uses those means for things to be created. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the power to create Sayyidina Isa without a father. Yes. He also has the power to create Sayyidina Isa without a mother, if He wished. Yes. And He also has the power of creating Sayyidina Isa, has the power to create Sayyidina Isa without making Sayyidina Jibreel blow onto Sayyidah Maryam. The ayat says that Jibreel came in the form of a man and then he blew towards Sayyidah Maryam. Now that just became a wasila, that just became a means. Yes. Many wisdoms into why it was done that way, many blessings maybe. Yes. But for our purpose, it's just a means for Sayyidina Isa ala nabina wa alayhi salatu wasalam to be born. Yes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have created us all at the age of 20 to 30. Yes. And we stay at that age forever. That is in His power to do that. But what? He makes our age a means, doesn't He? That we get weaker, and then we have death is a means for us to go into the next life. So there's these means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has. The laws of physics, sometimes we call them asbab, didn't we? Yes. He has these where things take place through, or through which He fulfills His command with. So the command is there, but His angels fulfill that command then. Does that make sense? So it's not really the angels that create. It's not really the angels that create. It's really Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who creates. The angels just became a means. The angels just became a means. But there's nothing wrong, and mark my words, there's nothing wrong with associating that specific action to the angel as well. For example, when Sayyidina Jibreel said, I have come to give you a son. He didn't say God has commanded me to give you a son, or God is giving you a son. He said, I have come to give you a son. Yes? I have. Sayyidina Jibreel said it to Sayyidah Maryam that I have come to give you a son. He's attributed that to himself. Oh yeah, is he the one that's giving the son? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One verse we understand that God created Sayyidina Isa from the word kun. And He said be, and he was. Yes. So Sayyidina Jibreel is saying that I have come to give you a son. He became the means, didn't he? So for him to associate to himself is jaiz, and for us to associate to him is also permissible as well. It's also what we're trying to say here as well is that if some pious person made dua for you, or you asked him to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants you children, and then you say so and so big sheikh did dua for me and I was granted a son. That's one way of saying it, better way of saying it. Or if you're just a layman and a layman says that so and so sheikh gave me a son. So and so sheikh gave me a son. It's a metaphor. It is a metaphor. And how is it a metaphor? We know that the person is a believer, we know the person is a Muslim, and we know that he believes or she believes that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that ultimately grants everything, and nobody can do anything without his will. All it was this sheikh that she asked to make dua for her to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant a child to her, he became the means. He became the means. This won't come under shirk. So sometimes associating it to the means is permissible. Like the doctor saved my life. We said that, don't we? The doctor saved my life. Who saved your life? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intrinsically saved it. The doctor just became the means for it. Yeah? So to associate that with him is a metaphor. Yes? Just as we have in the Arabic language, we have a saying, the spring brought out the vegetables or flowers or whatever you want to say. Yes? Ambatar Rabi'ul Baqla. That the spring brought out the flowers, the harvest, or whatever you have, okay, in your farming places, in your fields. Now, here, when we say that the spring has brought this, the spring created this, the spring made this happen, however you want to translate it. Yes? But who really made it happen? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Truth is, the person you're talking to, it depends upon him of how you understand his statement in terms of his religion and his belief. If a Muslim says it, then you know he's making a metaphor. He's associating these nice flowers, they've come out, the fruit and veg is nice and fresh and it's just been harvested, yes? In the spring or whatever season it is, normally comes out in. And what happens is you associate it with that, but it's just a metaphor. Why? Because he believes that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that ultimately does this. Yes? But what if an atheist came? What if the atheist made that same statement? You'll question him, but you'll say, what do you mean by that? And he says, yes, Mother Nature. Yes? Mother Nature did this. But he actually believes that. Now here, the difference is that when he said it, he means it in his reality. Word for word, the literal translation of it, he actually means that. What you understand for the first time, that's what it means. When a Muslim says it, it is totally different. This is what differs us between many other sects as well. We believe in metaphors. Yes? When we know that a person is talking in a metaphor, then we'll actually acknowledge that metaphor as well. And if it saves him from doing kufr, then we'll save him from kufr as well. Okay, so remember that. Aqidah number 23. 22? Yes, 22. In reality, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that grants you rizq. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that grants you rizq. And just as before, the angels become a means for it. The angels become a means for it. That they bring the rizq to you. They sometimes make dua for you and you get increasement in rizq. Yes? But this is all in the knowledge of Allah, isn't it? It's all in the knowledge of Allah. Because you can ask the question, can't you? If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already knew that He's going to give you more, why didn't He just give you it? Why did the angel have to do dua? Yes? But you forgot one thing. His knowledge the reality has to go with his knowledge. And in his knowledge was what? That this person A, Zaid, will have this much rizq. Then the angel will make dua for him, and then he'll have double the rizq. That's in the knowledge of Allah. And that's the only way this scene can be played out as well. The reality cannot go against the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's something you always have to understand. Because we start to sometimes make an analysis with our own mind. Yes? I have to give my brother, he took £20 off on this day, and then he took £30 another day. So you know what, I'll just give him 20 or 30, yes? 30, 40, £50, I'll just give him. Yes? You think, okay, I already got the knowledge and I'll give him. Yes? But that's your knowledge, isn't it? Yes? And your knowledge can change. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's knowledge does not change. Meaning that sequence has to be played out according to his knowledge. That first he gives you, first your brother took £30 off you, then he took the extra £20. Yes? But it has a specific time. It has its specific time. It's not for your brother to just say, okay, I'm going to take £50 off him or her anyway. Yes? So rather than splitting up, I just take it now. No, it has to play according to the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you can't analyze it with your own knowledge. Yes, because your knowledge can change. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's knowledge does not change. Aqidah number 23. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator of all good and bad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator of all good and this differs between the Shia. Yes, note this down because it makes a difference between us and the Shia. We read it in the Iman Mufassal, don't we? The Mufassal. Yes. Khayrihi wa sharrihi min Allahi ta'ala. Goodness and bad is good and bad is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning i.e. He's the creator of good and bad. He's the creator of good and bad. The Shia say that only God is the creator of good and humans are the creator of the bad. It's a Mu'tazila belief. It's a Mu'tazila belief. We'll talk about the Mu'tazila at some other date, inshallah ta'ala. But we say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator of these. But out of adab, we do not associate bad things to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes? We do not associate bad things to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're going and something bad happens. Yes? You don't say, oh, God did this. Astaghfirullah, you wouldn't say that. Yeah? Or like we in Sharia, we don't seem to get along with the pig, do we? Yes? Somebody sent in a picture this. Somebody sent a question in today with a Peppa Pig birthday card and asked me what's the hukum on this. And I answered it by saying that if you're asking if it's impure, it's not. Yes? Because it's not a pig. Yes? As only the pig is impure. But wallahu alam what the actual question was. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in reality has created everything. But we won't say he created the pig. As in that blatant sentence like that. Yes? You won't say, God is the creator of everything. He even created the pig. Is this not nice, is it? Yes? It's not very, very nice. It's disrespectful. So even though the reality is that sentence is true, it's not false, is it? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did create this animal. But because we look at a pig in a very bad way, we dislike the pig. So then to associate it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, out of adab we don't do that. Yes? So all the good things that happen to you, we say is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as a metaphor, at the end of speeches, yes, everything that was good that you learned is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anything that was bad, that was a mistake, is from myself. They say that at the end of the speeches. That's a metaphor now. His belief isn't that it's come from him, that he's created it. He means it as a metaphor. Okay. Just out of adab for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So keep that in mind. And all of this good and bad will occur in reality in accordance with the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meaning, however something will happen in a good way or a bad way, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that, and that's the way according to His knowledge it will be played out. But remember one thing, and this is kind of detailed, and that is that one is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's knowledge, and one is something that He may have ordered to be written on Lawh Mahfuz. The two different things. They are two two different things. His knowledge can't be changed. But what he's written maybe on Lawh Mahfuz or in the files of the angels, yes, that they know what the duties are and where they're assigned to, that can all be changed. That can all be changed. And we're going to talk about taqdeer later on as well. So nothing can go against his knowledge. Reality cannot go against his knowledge, but reality can go against what's been written. And there's many examples of that which we'll do in taqdeer as well. Yes? That, for example, in the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, according to the angel's file, you're not getting this risk. Yes? But then a man of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes dua for you. That whole process is in the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but was hidden from the angel. The angel thought you're only going to get half of your risk. Yes? But then what happens is that the wali makes a dua which is according to the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increases your risk. Yes? So from this we understand as well, sometimes the angels don't know everything which is in the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not everything is revealed to them. Okay? But we're going to talk more on that in taqdeer, but we'll show you the types of taqdeer as well. That's the next bit. We'll do that next week. Okay? The taqdeer, we're going to pick up on the next week. It's just a lengthy process. Yeah, taqdeer is qismat. Okay? Your fate. We're going to do that next week because there's a couple of types to it and they're kind of technical. And taqdeer is such a topic as well, which we've been ordered not to go into as well. Yes? So we're just going to touch the surface of it. Think about it, Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq and Sayyidina Umar were discussing taqdeer and the Prophet ﷺ warned them from discussing it. So if they were warned, then you can understand where our position is. So we're just going to skim it on the top. Okay, just let you know what types of taqdeer there are, what taqdeer can be changed and what taqdeer can't be changed. Okay, we're just going to go into that, but it's a bit technical. So we'll start that next week, inshallah ta'ala. That's what we'll do next week. We'll move on to your fiqh. Any questions so far on that? No? Inshallah. Last week in fiqh we studied the types of water, didn't we? Yes, and then we further went into another 5 types of water when something has affected the water. Yes, we went into that. There is another section which in the back we mentioned small amount of water. So this next section really deals with that as well. And again, it's called su'r. Su'r is left over. Yes? Like a cat drinks from water, that water becomes the leftover of a cat. Truth is exactly the same thing as what we studied previously. Yeah. So that the first type is tahir mutahhir, is clean and it purifies. That's like if a human being drinks from water. Yeah? I said a human being, okay. I didn't make a difference on Muslim and non-Muslim. Okay. Muslim, non-Muslim, if they drink from water, then that water stays pure as long as the non-Muslim hasn't just drunk alcohol. Yes, if he's just drunk alcohol and his lips are still moist and then he's drunk your water, yeah, then obviously there's a clear sign that alcohol also mixed with your water, then it's something that we'll say is impure. But if he hasn't drunk alcohol or is a non-Muslim who does not drink alcohol, then for him to drink your water is just like another Muslim drinking water.
What if he's at a haram meal or something like that?
The haram meal, it depends on what type of haram it is. Okay, what type of, like if it's bacon,
Yeah.
yes, then that's impure. Everything about the pig is impure. Yes, so if there's signs of that in the water, then you will say it's impure. Okay.
But they won't be like clearly visible though, will they?
No, the taste of the water or something. Yes, the smell of the water. of the cup. There'll be visible signs which will let you know that. But if there's no apparent signs, then it's fine. Yes? Meaning you saw him eat a haram thing, maybe bacon, and then after 5 minutes he ate it. Yes? And that's enough sign to know that, anything in his mouth may have dissolved or swallowed or whatever happens to it. Yes? So we need to look for the visible signs as well. With alcohol, the reason I made alcohol specific was because it's a liquid, and sometimes when it mixes water, you won't see it. Yes. So if it's there, if his lips are moist by alcohol, then most likely you need to avoid that water because alcohol has gone into the water as well. So again, it's like the same type, tahir, mutahir. Then the second type here is put najas as impure, and that's the same thing like a dog or a pig drinks from water. Yes, they're similar to what we did before. Then we had the third type, which is makruh, Again, similar example is like when a cat drinks from water, small amount of water. Then we had the last type, which is mashkuk, doubtful water, and that is if a donkey drinks from water. I went through that quickly because it was exactly the same thing that what we did before. Then he has another small section in regards to pots and pans, okay, and clothes. But we're not going to go into that. I don't think you'll be affected by it. But the masla is easy. The pots is slightly different and the clothes are slightly different. For example, you have two piles of pots and pans and plates, yes? And you have to use one of those pots for wuzu, yes? You have to use one pot for wuzu, that you want to get a bucket and take it to the sink and maybe put water in it and do wuzu with it, yes? But there's two piles. There are some which are clean, some which are unclean. And then maybe a dog comes along and knocks them all over. Yes? They're all mixed up now, aren't they? Now here, for wuzu and for drinking. If you know that majority of them were unclean, obviously you know you made that pile. So you knew that majority of them were unclean. Then you do a thing called, if you know that majority of them are clean, yes, then you have to do a thing called tahari, contemplate. That the unclean pile was on this side, the clean piles were on this side, the dog came from this side. Ponder, yes, make this analogy in your head and go through it. Dog came from this side, so he knocked them over this way, so these pots went that way, so the furthest pot on this side should be the clean pot. Yes? Easy, isn't it? Yes? So pick that pot up and off you go. So you can do that for drinking and you can do that for wuzu. Yes? But if majority of them are unclean, if majority of those pots and pans were unclean, and then the dog knocked them over, here there's only a difference. You'll do this tahaddi, this same process all again, but only for drinking, not for wuzu. That's a specific thing, isn't it? That's ibadah. Yes? That's the right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But He still allows, He takes His own right away, but He allows you to drink from them then. Yes? If you're really thirsty. Yes? But this is when you don't have other pots and pans in your house. Okay? If you got a whole wardrobe full of them, then you use them. Okay? And start washing these. Okay? Similarly, if you got clothes and you want to wear those clothes for namaz maybe, and then the clean clothes have been mixed with the unclean clothes. Now regardless of if majority of them are clean or unclean, this is the difference between the pots and pans scenario. Pots and pans, we split them into two, didn't we? Majority are clean or majority are unclean. With the clothes one, doesn't matter regarding if your clothes are clean or unclean. Once they be mixed up, just do that tahari. Just contemplate and try to pick a cloth which you think is clean. Take that and read namaz in it. Yes? So here you don't make if majority are clean or unclean. That's a small masla which he mentioned in between. What we mean by clean is clean and unclean is the actual impurities. Yes, I don't mean just like dirt or clothes which you've had on for a week and they stink of sweat. Yes, we don't. In Sharia we don't class them as unclean clothes. Yes, unclean clothes would be, for example, excretion on clothes. Yes, drops of urine on clothes, blood on clothes. Yes, all these impure things on clothes maybe. That's what we mean that they are unclean. Yes, or you have impurity on your clothes and now it's not suitable for you to pray in, is it? Yeah. So that's what we mean by it. Yeah? If you just soil on your clothes, yes, your clothes are white and now they look brown, just because of dust. Yes, that we don't class that as unclean clothes. Okay, they're clean in Sharia. Yeah, or if you instead of unclean, use impure. Okay, impure and pure clothes.
Most Margaret cooking places, they use the same pots and pans for the halal and haram food. What's the
We shouldn't. Yeah, yeah. If it's a restaurant, sue 'em. Okay. They're not allowed to do it. Okay. You shouldn't use the same pots and pans. They should be cleaned out thoroughly.
No, I mean after washing.
Yeah, after washing is fine. If you've taken away all of the signs of whatever was cooked, the haram thing that was cooked in it, and now it's clean, then it's fine. Yeah. I was talking about that somebody cooked bacon and then you started cooking a chicken in it afterwards.
No,
Yes,
when
that's-
they place and
yeah.
cook
That's fine.
English,
Yes. If the pots and pans have been washed, that's fine. That's fine. I was talking about if you just used one thing and then you've used another. Okay, straight away without washing it.
Let's just say if they've cooked chicken, but the chicken was killed in a haram way, you still need to wash the pans before you cook halal chicken.
It's haram to eat chicken, but that chicken's not haram,
Okay.
as in impure. Okay, remember that. Okay. The chicken itself is pure. Halal, wrong word. Pure. The chicken itself, the meat of it is pure for you to handle. Yes. Eating of it is haram. Yes. Whereas with bacon, the handling of it is haram, and the eating of it is haram as well. Okay. And dogs and things like this. Okay. There's another section after this which is on wells. Okay. Because we have the blessing of Yorkshire water, we're not going to go into them. Okay. So it's good for you to just read through if you have the book. Okay. It's good for you to read through that. If such and such animal falls into a well which is impure and it dies there, then what's the process of how to clean that well? Okay. When you read that section, there is a joke we normally mention here, and that is that some village people went to a Maulana and they asked him that a dog has died inside of a well, what should we do? He said, take out 200 buckets. Yes, they took out 200 buckets, they came back and they said to the Maulana Sahib that we have taken out 200 buckets, can you tell us if the well is clean now? Yes, he said, let's go, we'll look at the well and I'll let you know if it is clean. And so they walked, they went to the well, and the Maulana Sahib said, it's not clean. He said, why isn't it clean? He said, I told you to take 200 buckets out, but you were meant to take the animal out first. Yeah? It became unclean because of that, and you left the animal inside. Okay, the dog was still inside. So the whole point here, he hasn't mentioned it. In this section, he hasn't mentioned the taking out of the animal, but that's common sense. Yes? So take out the animal first, and then all those buckets that he mentions, start taking those out as well. Okay? It's just a Hanafi fiqh. These days you have mortars anyway. Yes? And majority of the time you don't even know what's inside the well because it's sealed off these days, isn't it? Okay? So there is that section, you can read that through yourself. The section after it is regarding istinja. Yes? This is where things get difficult. Yes? For us, because we are with sisters as well. Okay? So bear with me, inshallah ta'ala. I'll try my best to explain it in the best way and with the nicest words possible. Okay, inshallah ta'ala. It is sometimes difficult, but we have to teach this, and the truth is this book that Nurida is for kids really. It's not for adults, it's for kids. Hence why he has potty training in this book as well. Okay, so he tells you the method of istinja and things like this, and you should look into yourselves as well. one of the first things he mentions is that when you do relieve yourself, then you should make sure that you have relieved yourself with peace of mind. Yes, and the reason for that is that you cannot start your wuzu. You cannot start your wuzu until you have fully relieved yourself as well. Okay, this is one basic thing that everybody should know. Okay, I am going to miss parts as well of this. So look here, that istinja is of a couple of types, but istinja itself, this word is istinja. What is it? Istinja. It's an Arabic word, isn't it? Istinja. Yes, the scale of it would be all. Yes, what the huruf asli? Huh? So what's opposite the fa? What's the fa kalma? Tin. Noon. Yes. So noon is the fa kalma, isn't it? What's opposite the ain? Jim. What's opposite the lam? Hamza. Naja'a is the huruf asliya. What are the huruf zaida? The first three, aren't they? Yeah. Hamza, Sin and Ta. Hamza, Sin and Ta. Bigger word. And obviously you're going to learn that scale. It's not just, oh yeah, we made it up. Yeah, you learn that scale. And that's how it's pronounced. Istinja, not istanja. Okay? The word is istinja, not istanja. Another word which we get confused on is a bit wrong. What is it? Istighfar. Not astaghfar. Okay? What's the word? Istighfarun. Same scale. Istif'alun. Istighfarun. Istinja'un. It's all the same word. It's read as istighfarun, not astaghfar. There's no such thing as astaghfar. Okay? Remember that. What is it, kalma? This is the fifth one. Yes, fifth kalma is istighfar, not astaghfar. And when they say toba karo astaghfar, there's no such thing. Okay, there's no such thing. And the meaning of touching ears is I said this last time, innit? It's a bit of a Hindu thing. Istinja is sunnah. Istinja is sunnah, first of all. Okay, but for when any impurities that comes out of the two ways. Any impurity that comes out of the two ways, when that does not exceed its exit point. So, if the impurity does not spread upon the body, then to do istinja is sunnah. This is the first one. If the impurity does not spread upon the body, then it is sunnah to do istinja. But let's just say it does spread on the body. If it does spread on the body, the impurity that comes out of the two ways, it spreads over the body. We'll have to look, is it the size of a £2 coin or is it greater than the size of a £2 coin? Size of a £2 coin or greater than the size of a £2 coin. If it's at the size of a £2 coin, then it becomes wajib to do istinja, and it's wajib for you to use water as well. It's wajib for you to use water. And if it's more than the size of a £2 coin, more than the size of a £2 coin, then it's farz for you to use water. It's farz for you to do istinja, and it's farz for you to use water. Istinja really is, in the Prophet's time, was done by mudstones. So now you dig up the garden and you find little clay, and they look like stones. Yes, it was done with things like this, and that was the actual method of doing istinja in the time of the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. And then when the Prophet went to Quba, a verse was revealed regarding the people of Quba, and the Prophet asked them regarding that verse, and then the people of Quba said that every time we go to relieve ourselves, we use the mud stones first and then we use water. Yes, so the Prophet said this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed this verse, that He loves you and loves those who gain complete cleanliness. Yes, complete purification. So then that's why we also add water. But regardless, when you do istinja, you should always use water. Let me tell you one thing regarding istinja, because a massive misconception. Istinja is not part of wuzu. Okay, it's a condition for wuzu, but it's not part of wuzu. Istinja is that when you go to the bathroom, you clean yourself. Okay, what is istinja? When you go to the bathroom, you clean yourself by any means possible. Yes, look, in the time of the Prophet they had toilet paper. Not toilet paper. In the Prophet's time they had millstones, and our time we have toilet paper. Yes, it's the equivalent. So like, you know, I see it amongst brothers all the time. You tell them, let's go in for namaz. I haven't done istinja. You say that to an Arab, he'll step back a mile. Yes, because according to him, what he'll understand is that you went to the bathroom and you never cleaned yourself. That's unfortunate. That's what he's going to understand. But we have our brothers telling us that I can't read namaz because I haven't done istinja. Yes. So istinja means every time you go to the bathroom, the toilet, you clean yourself. That be by toilet paper, that be by water, whatever it is. As long as you cleaned yourself, you've got istinja. Yes. You don't have to go and wash yourself every time. Yes. That's what. This is what the point is, that the Prophet ﷺ, in the Prophet's time, used to use mud stones. Yes? And then later on water was added, wasn't it? Yes? So it just means when you go to the bathroom, you clean yourself. That is istinja. That the dirt that's on your body, you clean it. However you clean it, that's classed as istinja. So remember that. But for this sake, because we said it's sunnah to do it, clean yourself, then we said it's wajib to clean yourself with water, then it's farz to clean yourself with water. This is why, just to make life easy, we say that every time you go to the bathroom, then you should use water to clean yourself. Use water to clean yourself. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent water to clean. Yes, He said it was tahur. He says it's sunnah to also use mud stones. Sunnah to use mud stones, clean mud stones to do istinja. And I've told you that the equivalent according to us will be toilet paper. And he actually writes that to wash is beloved, but what's even more virtuous than even just washing alone is to maybe use the mud stones first and then wash yourself. Use the mud stones first, then wash yourself. Now that's even better. So in our generation, what would it be? Toilet paper and then water. Yes. And this is more virtuous. And this is the actual reason for the people of Quba. This is what they did. They used the mud stones first, and then they would wash themselves. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said He has love for those people who gain complete purification. The number of stones, according to Imam Shafi'i, is the number of stones is sunnah. That to use 3 mud stones is sunnah. To use how many? 3 mud stones is sunnah. Yes, and thereafter you can wash yourself. According to us, using the number 3 is not sunnah. Yes, what sunnah according to us is your need. Is your need. Meaning, if your need is 1 stone, then you use 1 stone. If it's 2, then it's 2. If it's 3, then it's 3. If you need 4, it's 4. If you need 10, it's 10. Yes? It's 10. So whatever your need is, that's what is sunnah. Now do it in our society. Yes? That'll be how many? Yeah? Toilet paper? Yeah. Not rolls, okay? Don't need 3 rolls. We mean 3 tears of it if you want to use that. I'll answer that at the end, okay? So this is sunnah according to us. So the number is not sunnah according to us, rather the process of cleaning is sunnah according to us. Yeah? So if you want to use more than 3 tears of paper or 3 rolls of paper, yes, and you need that much, then that will be classed as sunnah. Okay? But instead of wasting all that paper, use water. And then he goes into how to do istinja. How to do istinja. Or for example, if for men and for women, he makes a difference in that, how men and women should do istinja. For example, for men, he says start from the front and make your way to the back, and then from the back to the front and the front to the back. Yes? He does that with the 3 stones. And then he makes a difference between summer months and winter months. Yes? You know, for example, if it's summer months, then you start from the front backwards, and then from the back, second stone from the back to the front. Yes? And keep going like that. And for the women, he says regardless of what month it is, okay, you always start from the front to the back. That's how he tells you to do istinja. And there's various reasons for that within the Sharia of the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. One of the things you also do is, while you're washing yourselves, is you rub as well, don't you? Yes? When you're cleaning yourselves, you also rub. Yes? This is why we say Sharia teaches you everything. Yes? How do you rub yourself? For men, it depends how much impurity is upon your body. Yes? How much impurity is on your body. So that's how much fingers you use. If you need only 1 finger, then use 1 finger. If it's 2, it's 2. If it's 3, it's 3. If it's 4, it's 4. If it's the whole hand, then it's the whole hand. But how do you do that rubbing? The way you do it is, he says that raise the inside of your fingers, okay? And then maybe raise the middle finger above the rest of them. You're going to use your left hand, okay? I'm just showing you my right hand, okay? So you raise your hand like this, keep it close, and then raise the middle finger slightly above it. Yes? This is for men, okay? And then what will happen is, they're not some Illuminati signs, okay? Then you rub, okay? Just so that you can apply pressure, yes? That's how you rub, okay? For women it's slightly different, and that is that for women you'll keep your hands slightly bent and keep the fingers more or less straight, yes? And then you rub with the whole hand. You rub with the whole hand. This is one difference he makes between males and females, okay? And he mentions the reasons as why he makes that difference as well. He says you should exaggerate your istinja. Should exaggerate your istinja. What that means is keep cleaning until the smell maybe disappears, until you gain satisfaction that you've really cleaned yourself. Okay? And as far as you can clean within, try to clean within. Yes? As long as you're not fasting. As long as you're not, I said clean as far as you can clean within. Yes? But be careful, if you're fasting, then try not to clean within your body, right? All the way inside your body. The reason for that is if water enters your body, according to Hanafi fiqh, it will break your fast. Okay? So for that reason, maybe in Ramadan or while you're fasting, you have to be careful in terms of how you make istinja. Then he mentions that you should also dry yourself. Specifically if you're fasting. If you're fasting, then specifically dry yourself also. Why? Because if water again enters the body through those ways, it will break your fast. It will break your fast. Okay? So this was something he mentioned in regards to the istinja. The next chapter deals with istinja also, but a few extra things regarding istinja. One is that And I want to explain this because it's written in the book like this. The fuqaha are not the best of writers sometimes. Yes, and they just write just to get the meaning out. Yes, so they don't really choose their words or things very carefully. So he said, it's not permissible to open your aura for istinja. It's not permissible to open your aura for istinja. What's the man's aura? What's the male aura? Just below the belly button, including the knees, okay? Down to the bottom bone of your knee. Okay, this is the istinja. This is the aura of men. What's the aura for women? Anybody know? Yes. The whole of her body except her face, hands, and according to the mazhab as-sah, in the most authentic mazhab in the Hanafi fiqh that we give fatwa by, the feet are not aura. Yes, but there were many Hanafi scholars who also said, Imam Quduri is one of them, who said that the feet of women are aura. The feet of women are aura, meaning they need to cover them all the time. But the most authentic mazhab, like Sahib Hidayah, Imam Ginani, they all give the fatwa that the feet of women are not aura. The truth is that the hands and the face are proven from Hadith Sharif, but the feet are proven through Qiyas. But that's the fatwa we give anyway. So now look what he said, that it's not permissible for the person who's going to do istinja to open his aura. If it's a man, then what does he do? He can't open his aura when he goes to the bathroom. That's what he's trying to say, isn't he? Yes? He's not trying to say that, is he? Yes? Just be logical about it. He's trying to say that if you're out in the open, then whatever your need is, just open that aura. You know, if you're living in India, Mustafa's here. If you're living in India, which they have a toilet problem over there, they don't have toilets in India. If you live in there, and, you know, because you don't have toilets, then you have to go out into the field, then don't you? Then people be around. Then he's trying to say that open your aura to the extent which you only need, and the rest of your body is covered. Yes, I told you, didn't I, Mustafa, regarding the Indian story? Yeah, it's a national problem for Indians that they don't know how to use the toilet. Yes? To a point, even the government made toilets for them. You know, villages, they made toilets for them. The men and the women did not use the toilets as toilets; they used them as places to wash their clothes. Yes, and they will still go out into the field. But it's a big problem. Why? Because the ladies can only go either early morning or late at night into the fields. And then you have another Indian problem, and India has a rape problem. Yes, you know, raping women is just seen as something to do on a daily basis over there. Okay, among some of the tribes in India. So it's a big problem amongst them. Yes. So to tackle that, they're trying to give them toilets, but they never use them. So this is what it means here when you do it in the open. But if you're, like we have in the UK, we have our own personal bathrooms and toilets. It's a room in itself. It's closed off. Yes. If you're there, then you can do as you please. Okay. He further mentions that one of the points he mentions as well is that if there's dirt upon your body, impurity upon your body, then it's not permissible for you to start your wuzu. I mean, you have to clean yourself before you start the wuzu. Okay? And you should find any means, any way to purify yourself away from this impurity. Okay? Further, he mentions that it's makruh to do istinja with bones. Yes? It's makruh to do istinja with bones. Okay? The reason for that is we honor food, don't we? Yes. And according to the hadith, bones are food of the jinn. Bones are food of the jinn. Okay. So that's why we honor that. We leave the bones for the jinn. You don't eat the bones, do you? Yes. You always throw them away. Next time, just make a separate place in your gardens for the jinn. Okay. Likewise with any type of food. Yeah. And the basic concept behind it is because we honor it. Just because we honor it, that's why we don't use it in this degrading way. Either food for humans or animals. Food that is for humans or animals, we won't use it in that way. Look, we honor and we eat animals, don't we? Yes? So we honor their food as well, and sometimes they can save our lives as well. Likewise, a brick. Likewise, a brick. By brick, I mean baked bricks. Yes? Baked bricks. What was that brick called, Mustafa? Supreme bricks. Anybody heard of it? How much did it sell for? £32 in America. Yes? People buy one brick for £32. Yes, for some reason. Just because it's got a name on it. Bricks, it's not permissible for you to do istinja with bricks. Why?
It's made with fire.
Made with fire, but instead of cleaning yourself, you'll be damaging yourself. Yes? If you see my house, and my house has red bricks, but what it is, it has these little sharp edges to it. You know, on the brick itself, it has sharp edges. So if you try to do istinja with that, it will definitely harm you. Likewise with khazif. Khazif, pottery. Pottery. Yes? You know, clay when it's broken. To do istinja with something like that, again, it's going to harm you then, isn't it? It's not exactly going to clean you. Fahm, coal. Yes? Can't do istinja with coal. It'll turn you black. Yes? Zujaj, glass. Yes, it's not permissible to do, or it's makruh to do istinja with glass. Then it'll cut you, wouldn't it? Okay. And you have other things like marble, and we have this word called jas, which in Pakistan we call them chips. You know what you walk on in your house, the veranda and everything, and it has nice patterns. It's not marble. Okay, it be like a liquid thing, and then they make patterns in it. Yes, once it dries, it looks like marble, then, doesn't it? Yes, that's what we're talking about. You can't do istinja with that as well. Okay, and anything which is honorable and respected. Yes, he gives an example like a piece of silk. Yes, you don't want to do istinja with your wife's scarf now. Yes, which she bought very expensive. Yes, yeah, you know, you won't have a house to live in after that. So the reason is because it's expensive and you honor it. It's something that you honor, don't you? Yes, you value it, so that's why you won't do istinja with it. Likewise, cotton or wool, you wear it, don't you? So you won't do istinja with it. It can be useful to others. Yes, if you can't use it, then give it to somebody else, and they can use it. Okay. Likewise, using your right hand for istinja is makruh. Why? Yeah, you eat with it. It's honorable hand, isn't it? The general rule is everything praiseworthy you do with your right hand, and everything that's not praiseworthy, like cleaning, throwing rubbish away, things like this, you do with your left hand. Yes. This is why you also, when you, for example, if I've got rubbish and I say, can you throw this in the bin? Yeah, you don't give it with the right hand, you give it with the left hand, so he knows to take it with the left hand as well, because it's something to throw away, isn't it? So this is a sunnah as well, which sometimes people miss out. So that's that. One sunnah is to enter the bathroom or the toilet with your left foot. With your left foot. I read a long time somewhere, it was about maybe 5 or 6 years ago, that if your left foot is forward and you have a heart attack, yes, you'll fall backwards. And if your right foot is forward and you have a heart attack, you'll fall forwards. Okay? So some people, when I read the article, they were trying to say that when you're going to the bathroom, you should always go with your left foot. So if anything happens, you won't, if you're going to die, then you're going to die. It's decreed from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At least it'll be decreed that you won't die in the bathroom. Okay? So you will fall backward then, wouldn't you? So, I mean, the wisdoms can be many. This is something that I read a long time ago, that somebody, scientists had proven this, and then another Maulana just tried to emphasize this point on it. And before you enter, you should say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Yes, seek protection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The reason is because bathrooms are places which are not protected. Yes, jinns can enter them. Jinns can enter them, and this is one thing as well, one etiquette, that any bathrooms that you have in the house, you should always close their doors. Yes? Close the door behind you. Okay. Don't leave them open. So before you enter, not inside. If there's a toilet there, then you always make the du'as or whatever we tell you to read always outside of the bathroom room. Do it always outside and then enter it. So say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, then enter into the bathroom with your left foot. He tells you the sitting position. Yeah, how to sit when you're relieving yourself, and it's simple. It's a sunnah actually, and that is that when you sit to relieve yourself, then most of your weight should be towards your left hand side. Yes, your stomach's on your left, so you want to apply pressure towards your left hand and side. And I've seen it on Facebook and stuff like that, where they have they tell you how to sit on the toilet. Yes. So the truth is that the Pakistani toilets are the best way of sitting on a toilet. Yes. Was it? Yes, squatting. But there was this thing that they invented for Western toilets. Yes, you know, where you put underneath your feet. Yeah, the stool. Yes, it had a specific name. And then they sit on that so that you can actually get the 90-degree angle of the squatting position. It's actually sunnah to sit that way as well. But he tells you here that to lean towards your left hand side, just so that it makes life easy for you. The reason I want to mention that as well is majority of our illnesses that we have in our communities are based around the stomach. Yes, and one of the main causes is that people don't know how to relieve themselves. People don't know how to go to the bathroom and relieve themselves. Yes, where you find that they've eaten and then they've digested their food and they go to the bathroom and they really haven't relieved themselves, but because they sat in such a position where they can't tell what their body is doing inside. Yes, they think they've relieved themselves, and then they go out and they have stomach problems, then they have constipation and things like this. Yes, so this is a problem with our community sometimes. The truth is, you just need to read back into the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and you realize of how these things help as well. When we tell elders to do these things, and believe me, I've told elders to do this, they come back months later and they said it's really helped them. Irritable bowel syndrome is one of the probably common cases amongst Asians because of the chilies that they eat. But one of the causes is that affects the intestines. One of the reasons is because when they go to the bathroom, they're not relieving themselves fully. They sit in such a position where they can't feel what's going on inside. Yes, everything is not passing through smoothly. Yes, just because they're not sat in the sunnah position. Something for you to think about. It's makruh tahrimi to face Qibla, to have your face towards Qibla or have your back towards Qibla. Yes, while using the bathroom. This is something that you should take care of as well, regardless of which way your toilet is facing. Yes, there's no manual of how to use the toilet, is there? Okay, so if you have to adjust yourself slightly so that you're away from Qibla on the toilet, then do so. Do so and maybe change direction. Yes, and you can do it that way. But try not to face the Qibla. Try to have your sides towards the Qibla. By Qibla, I mean you could be in front of the Kaaba, within Makkah, in your homes, wherever you are, it's all the same. Don't face toward the direction of the Qibla. Then he mentions few things which you won't have any use for. As for example, relieving yourselves facing the sun. Yes? Or facing the moon. Or relieving yourself in the direction of the wind. Yes, these are all apparent things, aren't they? That if you try to relieve yourself, if you're urinating, then it's gonna come on top of you. Yes, and regarding the moon and the sun is that if you're in the light of the moon and the light of the sun, then you're gonna expose yourself to the people around you. So that's why he mentions those things. One thing he mentions is that I don't want you to get confused now when you read it back to yourselves, is that he says that it's makruh to urinate or defecate within water. Yes? What happens to us? We do it in water, don't we? Our bathroom. But obviously you have to slightly put this in context of his day and time. Yes? In his age, what was it? People were going out. Hence why he's mentioning all these things. They were going out and they were relieving themselves. So he's trying to say that if you've gone out and you saw that there's water there, don't do it, because it could be drinking water for an animal, or maybe somebody dug this ditch and they placed this water in there for maybe giving water to the field. Yes, they harvest. So there could be 1,001 reasons of why that water is there. So don't defecate within this water. Yeah? But for us in our day and age, it's not exactly that somebody's going to drink from the toilet, is it? Yes, it's a designated area, a specific place which is used for a specific thing as well, isn't it? Yes, for a specific action, specific has a specific usage. So that's why we can. It's no longer makruh for you to defecate or relieve yourself within water. And then he carries on by saying, don't defecate within shadow, in shade. Yes, why? Because if you're living in the desert, then you know how expensive shade is. Yes, if you were to sell it, you probably sell it at £1 million. Yes, if you're in the desert and you just want shade, yeah, you know how much is worth to you. So then don't do that, because you know yourself, if somebody has relieved themselves, you won't sit in that place with you. Yes, so that's why keeping an eye on your society. Likewise, in a hall, in a public pathway. Yes, and this goes for people, even though it's not permissible to have dogs, but many people have dogs as well. Pick up the excrement when they've done it on the street. Yes, it's a foul thing to do. And like that, he gives examples. Another thing which is makruh is to urinate standing. This is specifically for the men. It's makruh to urinate standing. Yes, it's something which the Prophet ﷺ disliked, unless you have a reason. Unless you have a reason, you've gone to a public a washroom, public toilet, and it's just filthy everywhere. The toilet is filthy, but you really have to relieve yourself. Yes. Then in that case, you think to yourself, if I was to sit on this toilet, yes, I will make my clothes impure, I'll make my body impure, I'll come out in a worse state than I was in before. Yes, then in that case, that's a reason. That is a reason for you to maybe that you can stand in that scenario. Yes, makruh tahrimi to stand. Then a person should exit the bathroom with his right foot. Right foot. Going back to that thing, when you're exiting, if something happens to you at this point, then you fall forwards. And when you exit, you should say, Alhamdulillahillazi azhaba annil aza wa afani. This is one dua which you can read. We might do a course on du'as, inshallah, at some point. Yes, we'll go through Kitabul Azkar of Imam Nawawi, where he goes through du'as that you can do for every single thing. The du'as that the Prophet ﷺ made, yes, before he went to bed, before he did wuzu, yes, before he did certain actions, the du'as. Inshallah, on a later date, we'll do a course on that as well. So this dua we read that all praises to Allah who has taken away from me the pain. Yes? The pain that you had to relieve yourselves, that pain has now, he has taken away. Wa afani, and he has granted me relief. He has granted me relief from it, that pain. So this is the dua that you read here. I'll start the next section and then we finish it off next week as well. The next section is in wuzu. I just wanted to get to this point. Okay. This is, from now, everything that we do will be important for you, something that you'll relate to now. Wuzu. How many farz does wuzu have? Anybody know? Somebody said 6. 4. Okay. 4 farz of wuzu. What are they? Face, hands, what else? Feet and masa. Masa and feet. Do it that way around. Okay. So you got first farz, which is the face. Second farz, hands or arms, how you want to name it. Then you have masa of the head. And then you have washing the feet. And they all couple in a verse of the Quran. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu faghsilu وجوهكم وأيديكم إلى المرافق وامسحوا برؤوسكم وأرجلكم إلى الكعبين. Okay. يقوم يا الذين آمنوا إذا قمتم إلى الصلاة فاغسلوا وجوهكم. Okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned them all in there, that when you stand for prayer, then wash your faces, wash your arms, including the rightful translation according to us is including your elbows. It's not up to your elbows, including your elbows. Do masa of your head and wash your feet, yes, ilal ka'bayn, including your ankles. Okay. Now look here, washing the face. To wash the face, we need to know what the face is. Yes? Anybody know what the face is? You know? Yes, that's what it is. So the face in Sharia is from your hairline, if you got one, from the men's side. Okay? From here, okay, if you don't have a hairline, then if you frown, yes, you get lines on your forehead, okay, it'll just be slightly above that, yes, and if you never frown, could be, so people never frown, then it's always 4 fingers of your own hand. 4 fingers of your own hand. Just place your hand above, just slightly above your eyebrows, and it'll be 4 fingers, yes. Your 4 fingers are always a quarter of your head, and your forehead is always a quarter of your head. Yes? Easy way to remember it. If you got one. Okay. So 4 fingers. So that'll be your face. So if you put your finger there, yes, that's your hairline there. If you haven't got one. Okay. So it's from your hairline down to your chin. So if you stretch your chin out, you'll see a line behind. Okay. You'll feel it. Okay. That's where your face ends. Behind your chin. Okay. The chunk of meat that you have of your chin, behind it is where your face ends. And it's from earlobe to earlobe. So this circle is the face. This is for the sisters, if that's your face. Yes? And we said that the aura is that you can only uncover your face, hands and feet. Yes? The neck then has to be covered. Okay? Hence why you'll see some sisters wear this scarf on their chin. Okay? Because the point in between is part of the aura. Do ears fall under aura? Yeah? The ears can't be unveiled as well. They fall under the aura then, don't they? Because we just defined the face now. We said from earlobe to earlobe, meaning the ears though do not fall within the face. That's just a limit. From where the earlobe starts from there to the other side, circle it, that is the face. Yeah? So sometimes when we make the sisters do the scarves, then they have to do it in that manner as well. Okay? And I just mentioned it here because I might not find another place I'm mentioning it. We don't want those camel hump hijabs. Okay? We call them camel humps because of a hadith as well. The Prophet ﷺ actually said it in hadith that towards the end of time there will be women who will not get the scent of heaven. Yes? Why? Because their heads will look like camel humps. Yes? And the Prophet mentioned, I think, a bukhti camel. Yes? And his hump is like, it goes up and then it flops. It goes up and then it flops. And sometimes you know the sisters that have these bones and they just keep going. Yes? It's like a Fir'aun kind of style, isn't it? If you look at all Pharaoh's pictures, yes, you'll see that they're kind of like that. But the Prophet called him a hump because they look like that hump, and then the scarf dangles from the side, then doesn't it? Yeah. So you have to be careful of these things as well. Okay. So that's the face. That needs to be washed. Every single bit of that face needs to be washed. Every single bit of that face needs to be washed. Meaning, your eyebrows, your eyes when they're closed, all that needs to be washed. All within that area needs to be washed. Okay? With the exception, and that is, for example, and we mentioned this later on as well, that there's 2 parts to your lips. One is a wet part and one is a dry part. The wet part is considered to be the inside of your body. So if you close your lips, wherever your lips touch, yes, and whatever is apparent, all the apparent side is farz for you to wash, is part of your face. Okay? But how does it get covered? How does that get covered? So even if you're washing the rest of your face, sometimes you can miss it out, can't you? But how do we cover it? We cover it with the sunnah, and that's when you wash your mouth out, you put water in, it washes it then with it. Okay. The sunnahs will come later on. The second fard is to wash your, what is it to wash? Second fard? Hands. Okay. Including your elbows. According to us, is including your elbows. So don't just wash your arms and wash up to there. Yes. You have to include your elbows within it. So you wash up to there. Okay. Wherever your elbow ends, that's where it is up to. Then you have the third fards. He switches them around, but I'm gonna do them the other way around. And that is that the third fards is of doing masa of your head.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
The third fard is to do masa of the head. But in the Hanafi fiqh, it is only fard to do masa of the quarter of the head. Masa to do of the quarter of the head. What is masa? The literal meaning of masa is just to wipe. But the Shari definition is to get a wet hand and to pass it over something. That's what we call masa. Okay? Mashun. Mashun. Becomes the wazn of fa'lun. Yes? And you can make words like masaha, okay, from it, and that will be on the wazn of fa'ala. Yes? It carries on like that. So, to take a wet hand and wipe over a specific place. Okay? So, it's in opposition to washing. When we say masa, it's in opposition to washing. In Sharia, that is. Okay? So, when we say masa, we don't mean washing. Washing is to get flowing water, like you wash your face. You have to get flowing water and take it to your face. Yes? Whereas when we say masa, it could just be a wet hand, and then you do masa of your head. And it's only a quarter of your head. Only a quarter. And this is farz according to us. And we have many dalail for us. One is the hadith where the Prophet ﷺ did masa only of a quarter of his head. And from there we prove that this is, the Prophet restricted this to a quarter. We show that he did the bare minimum. Okay. So that's why we restricted to a quarter. I'll tell you the method of wuzu. Is going to come later on again, but the whole method of wuzu itself will tell you, inshallah ta'ala, next week. Then you have the the fourth farz, which is washing the feet, including the ankles. Okay, it's simple, that isn't it? You just wash, yes, wash in between your toes and wash including your ankles. For sisters, do your ankles come in aura? Yeah, they will come under your aura, and it's farz for you to cover your ankles. The best thing to do is, because we have that ikhtilaf, even though the mazhab asah is that it's permissible to show your feet, okay, but it's better to still cover them. Okay, according to Imam Shafi rahimahullah ta'ala, according to Imam Shafi, it's aura, and he said that women have to cover their feet. Women have to cover their feet, and there's a whole story behind it, regardless if it's true or not. But some people have related to him that he saw a woman's foot, and then from there he said that, you know, there's fitna in this, and then he gave the judgment. But the truth is that story doesn't really prove anything. Yes, the Sharia is proof, isn't it? Yes, experiences are not proof. Sharia is proof. Okay, Quran and Hadith is proof. From Quran and Hadith, Imam Shafi took his own position that it is false for a woman to cover her feet. From there, we understand that the style that you get in women these days, yes, men's trousers are meant to be short above the ankles, yes, but men's trousers seem to be getting longer. They seem to be dangling off the waist and further down, right? And they're going further down to the ground. And the sisters' trousers seem to be lifting up. Okay, it's wrong. Okay, you should always, men should keep, as a sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, to keep your trousers above your ankles. And for the sisters, it's sunnah for you to, well, it's necessary for you to cover your ankles as well. Okay, so this is the just a starting part of wuzu. Yes, the things that which will relate to you now are starting from here. So we go from wuzu, we'll go to tayammum, we'll go to ghusl and all these things, and then we're going to namaz, and so everything will be associated to you, inshallah wa ta'ala. We'll carry on from there from next week. We've got a few questions. I'll do the first one when we're talking about cooking. Can you cook and sell haram chicken to non-Muslims? If you got haram chicken, yes, it's haram to buy haram chicken. Yes, it's haram to buy haram chicken. Selling is further on somewhere. Okay, so you can understand from that it's not permissible for you to sell it. Why don't we open our fast at exactly sunset time? Sunset is at 6:46, but most calendars will say 51 or 54. We make the calendars, but we always leave a precautionary time. We might know, according to our science, that the sunset is at 6:46. Yes, but we just used our tools, our calculations. So we leave a precautionary time, maybe 5 minutes or so. Okay, so that we are sure that the time was entered, and that's why we write that on the calendars. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Do we need to remove kohol whilst doing wuzu for wuzu to be valid? No, you do not have to remove your surma. If you got surma on, you do not have to remove it. It does not stop water. We're going to go into that later on anyway. Okay, it's going to come next week, inshallah ta'ala. It'll come and we'll talk about it then.
You said there's only possible to do quarter of the head for a masah. Is that just a full quarter or?
Any quarter. Any quarter of your head. Yes? Any quarter of your head. We'll stop there, inshallah. Any questions? Go for it. Okay. In Sunnah Muakkada, he said. In Sunnah Muakkada, you stand up straight after Abduhu wa Rasuluh. Yes.
Sometimes absent-mindedly because you're so used to
Okay.
Islam. So
Okay.
you have to do
The Saddah Sahib will come there. Remember one thing, as soon as you say Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, if you say the Prophet's name, Saddah Sahib will be upon you. Okay? Even in your Farz namaz, and even in your Sunnah, in your Wajib namaz as well, and even in your Sunnah Muakkada. Yes? If you say Allahumma salli, it's fine. Just get up, carry on with your namaz, no sajda sahv. If you say Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, that's a full sentence now. Yes, you send salutations upon the Prophet. Now you've delayed your the next farz, which was for you to stand up to the third rakat. Yes, you've delayed that. That delaying, yes, it was wajib for you to stand up straight away. You delayed that wajib. That's why sajda sahv came on you.
So when the
Sajda sahv is always done at the end of namaz. It's always done at the end of namaz. Remember that. So we'll cover all of that. So, any questions?
One more about Musaf. He said a quarter fast. If you do your full head, will that be sunnah or will that be what?
What's it? Full head. Yeah, that's going to come later on as well. The full head is sunnah. We'll show you the method of how to do masa as well. Inshallah. Handle alcohol. Yes, it's permissible in this country to handle alcohol as long as it's not your alcohol. Yes, there's no such thing as your alcohol as a Muslim. Yes, there are a few conditions. I got fatwa on Essential Islam. The business is not owned by a Muslim. Yes, meaning there's nothing to do with Muslims. Yes, and that you're not the owner of it as well as in the alcohol. So if you're, for example, working in Morrison's, you're working for a non-Muslim, and he just told you to move a crate of alcohol from one place to another, or pass a crate of alcohol to a customer, okay, that job is perfectly fine for you to do. But because we don't want it to be a job which Muslims do, we always advise that that person gets a different job, okay, or work in a different department, okay. But doing that job in itself will not make it income haram.
So let's just say if he's working as a deliveryman for a brewery, will that be completely haram? Or?
It's not completely haram, no. It's not completely haram, but it's a job which we strongly advise for him not to be in. Yes? It won't be haram, but it's something that we strongly advise that he does not get involved with. Yes? If it's a non-Muslim brewery. If it's a Muslim brewery, yes, then it's... I went to a brewery in Pakistan once, in Quevra. Yes? It's the oldest brewery in Pakistan. I didn't go inside it, I happened to see actually. But if it's owned by Muslims, yes, then it's not permitted. If you're working for a restaurant owned by a Muslim who sells alcohol, you should boycott them all the time. Okay, I boycott them. I don't go to restaurants that serve alcohol. I don't do nikahs in restaurants that serve alcohol. I don't go to weddings that are held in restaurants that serve alcohol. You should boycott those people, yes. And if they give money towards your gatherings and so on and so forth, don't even accept them. Okay, those people need to be boycotted. Yes. So that if a Muslim owns it, then you're part of it. You're part of the sin. So if you work for him and you actually move the alcohol for him as well, then you're part of that sin. You come under that hadith. Yes, the one who gives the alcohol, the one who guides towards alcohol. Yes, the curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is upon them. You're part of that hadith as well.
Can you text me that, please?
Shall I text you that?
The whole fatwa, yeah?
Inshallah.
A few brothers that work in dodgy restaurants.
That's a quite famous fatwa one. That one, there's been shared quite a few times.
No, Mum sent me something, but
Okay.
if you send me it.
Inshallah. I'll try to find it. Inshallah. Any more before we go? No questions? I'll let you go then, inshallah.